Recording in progress.
So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam today, famous verse, first canto, first chapter, text number 10. Prainal Payusha Sabya Kalavasmin Yuge Janaha Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hupadrita Prainal Payusha Sabya Kalavasmin Yuge Jana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hubadrita.
What is the
1:1:10.
1:1:10? Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:10.
Yeah.
Is it Prayanal Payasu?
Prayanal, yeah.
That's the one.
That's it.
Prayanal Payasu Sabya.
Prainal Payusha Sabya
Kalau Asmin Yuge Jana.
Kalavasmin Yuge Jana
Manda Sumanda Matayo.
Manda Sumanda Matayo
Manda Bhagya Hi Padruta.
Manda Bhagya Hubadrita.
Prayanal Payusha Sabya
Prainal Payusha Sabya
Kalavasmin Yuge Jana
Kalavasmin Yuge Jana
Dasmanda Matayo
Manda Sumanda Matayo
Manda Bhagya Hupadruta
Manda Bhagya Hubadrita. Prayena, almost always. Alpa, meager. Ayusha, duration of life. Sabya, member of a learned society. Kala, in this age of Kali. Quarrel. Asmin, herein. Yuge, age. Jana, the public. Manda, lazy. Sumanda Mataya, misguided. Manda Bhagya, unlucky. He, and above all, Upadruta, always disturbed. A translation of purport by Srila Prabhupada. O learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Everyone can please repeat. O learned one. In this iron age of Kali. Men have but short lives. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Just where's my phone? Right here. Oh, there. I just want to turn it off because it keeps sounding. Purport. The devotees of the Lord are always anxious for the spiritual improvement of the general public. When the sages of Naimisharanya analyzed the state of affairs of the people in this age of Kali, they foresaw that men would live short lives. In Kali Yuga, the duration of life is shortened not so much because of insufficient food, but because of irregular habits. By keeping regular habits and eating simple food, any man can maintain his health. Overeating, over-sense gratification, over-dependence on another's mercy, and artificial standards of living sap the very vitality of human energy, and therefore the duration of life is shortened. So just Srila Prabhupada's purport. He's addressing the first point, that Alpa Ayusha, small, short duration of life. As Srila Prabhupada says here, that simple living is the key to, generally speaking, health. Of course, there's karma. People have their karma. They may have some serious disease. But generally speaking, most disease comes from overeating, eating the wrong things, of course, killing animals, But interesting thing I found here, overeating, over sense gratification. This is why America has so much suicide, so many mental, emotional problems, because people are overindulging in sense gratification. They actually think that sense gratification is like an inalienable right that one must have, even in the U.S. Constitution. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But they don't know what happiness is. Happiness is anandam buddhi vardhanam. Happiness, by its very nature, always expands. And the happiness in this world always contracts. And so, but the really interesting thing Prabhupada says, over-dependence on another's mercy. This is a Shudra. So a Shudra should be over-dependent on another's mercy. But still, they should be, what really Srila Prabhupada's meaning here is they're depending on others' mercy and not on Krishna's mercy. No, we're depending on the leaders of society. Where this verse, it says, Manda sumanda mateo. That people, manda, they're generally spiritually lazy. But sumanda mataya. Mataya means, how does Prabhupada translate it here? Misguided. So matta means opinion. So it means the opinion of those who lead society is improper. And therefore, people, even if they become a little spiritually enlivened, the whole society is designed to take that away. That's why we see so many people come to Krishna consciousness and they leave. Because the environment is not conducive to what we're teaching. We're giving them these books that tell them everything you've done in your life is useless. You've completely wasted your time. All of your habits are wrong. I mean, if anybody, if we took these books to a company that analyzes sales, they would say, forget about it. This book, tells you everybody to do what they don't want to do, and tells them not to do what they want to do. And it's a big book. Most people are lazy, and so what is our hope? Of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. That's our only possibility. Srila Prabhupada's mercy, parampara mercy. Otherwise, we're in a bad business. So telling everybody that everything, just like Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, I can't remember the verse, but Prabhupada quotes it quite often. He says he has taught us how to preach. First you go to someone and you say, sir, you are a very intelligent person. You're very capable. I think that your life is an exemplary life for everyone. So I just wanted to say, and they say, yes, please, go on. I just have one request. Oh, anything you want. Forget about all of that and surrender to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Prabhupada said, this is our preaching technique. Prabhupada said that I listen to them for 5 minutes maximum. Then I know where their weak spot is, and I go after the weak spot. So this is Prabhupada's philosophy of how to preach. So over-dependence on another's mercy. We should be dependent on Krishna's mercy, not another's mercy. Of course, sometimes we accept mercy of persons who are spiritually more qualified than we are. That we accept. But we don't accept mercy for my sense gratification, mercy for what I want in life. We accept that mercy. We accept that mercy that comes, or as, what is that verse in the 4th chapter? And 4:22, Krishna says, you should accept what comes of its own accord. Otherwise, what comes from destiny, that you should accept. And everything that comes, you should accept as Krishna's mercy. Understanding eva atmakrita, that certainly it is coming from your own activities. Nothing is happening to you by chance. Nothing is happening to you by the imposition of others. They are imposing themselves because of your destiny. Otherwise, why is it that some people, everybody that comes to them brings them good fortune, and other people, everything that comes to them brings them bad fortune? So obviously there's destiny. So, Srila Prabhupada said, artificial standards of living. Prabhupada says here, irregular habits. So people have irregular habits. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, don't eat too much, don't eat too little, don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Otherwise, everything regulated. And then just as far as controlling the mind, when we live, we have good sadhana bhakti, the mind comes under control. Because the mind knows that you have to do this at this particular time. You're going to get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock. You're going to do this. You're going to chant japa at this time. You're going to eat at this time. So the more regulated one is in all these habits, just like Srila Prabhupada, 11 o'clock was his massage. His lunch was usually 12:30, 1 o'clock. And very regulated, very regulated. So, and that was only sleeping a few hours a day. So Srila Prabhupada continues, people of this age are also very lazy. So first, prayana here means almost always. So there may be some exception, but prayana alpa ayusha, shortened life. Then kalavasmin yuge janaha. This is the situation of the people in Kali Yuga, that manda, they are lazy, not only materially, but in the matter of self-realization. Human life is especially meant for self-realization. That is to say, man should come to know what he is, what the world is, and what the supreme truth is. So when Srila Prabhupada says what the world is, means dukkhalayama shashvatam. Otherwise, it is temporary and it is full of misery. That's what we know. Not that, the world's wonderful. Every time I go on Google, I see these wonderful islands that I could go visit, and I can do this, and I can enjoy it this way. That's not how the world is. That's how the world, we want the world to be, so we can enjoy our senses. But the world is very different. So know what the world is. That is defined here in the 10th chapter, and also the 16th chapter. Well, the 10th chapter describes more. The 16th chapter describes ignorance. Can I use your
16th chapter?
Yeah. Unless there's a Gita around here.
Chapter, how Parikshit received the age of Kali?
No. 16th chapter of Gita.
Oh, Gita. It's
Give me a Gita. Just wanted to read the the qualities of people in Kali Yuga. So first he gives the qualities of people in goodness. Then, pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These are the qualities belong to those of demoniac nature. And then he goes on. Krishna goes on to say, those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. They say this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. So now we have all these phenomena, transgender and this and that, because they don't know. They don't know what the purpose of life is. They don't know what is to be done, what is not to be done, and they think everything is just to satisfy sex desire. So what a crazy society. Human life is a means by which the living entity can end all the miseries of the hard struggle for life in material existence, and by which he can return to Godhead, his eternal home. So there Srila Prabhupada defines human life. It's very interesting that Srila Prabhupada says in his purport to Adi Lila 9th chapter, text 41. He says in the purport that India is the only place where real human civilization can exist. The end of the first paragraph. I always found that interesting, that in spite of all the problems that exist in India, because the remnants of the Vedic culture are so strong, Prabhupada said there are two things that he says this in 10th canto, 1st chapter, 4th verse. Beautiful purport. He says, even though India has become so degraded, still everyone knows they are not this body. Practically everyone knows that. And second, if you do a Pandal program, thousands of people will come. Even if they don't understand the language, it doesn't matter. They'll come. So it's a very, very special human life. And Prabhupada defines human life as that lifestyle which can end all miseries. Otherwise, human life is what everyone wants, but no one is living. They all want human life, but they don't know what it is. They think human life is just animal life on two legs instead of four legs. But due to a bad system of education, men have no desire for self-realization. Even if they come to know about it, they unfortunately become victims of misguided teachers. So this is very important. The education system. The Vedic education system is that you do an astrological chart and you find out what the person is interested in. Then you educate them in that, and they're interested, they're enthusiastic. Not that you put them in a classroom where everybody has to study the same thing, and everyone is uninterested in something. So therefore they see education as a big problem. And the only education they want is that which leads to sense gratification. In this age, men are victims not only of different political creeds and parties, but also of many different types of sense gratificatory diversions, such as cinemas, sports, gambling, clubs, mundane libraries, bad associations, smoking, drinking, cheating, pilfering, bickering, and so on. Hare Krishna. Pretty nasty. Interesting that Srila Prabhupada says here that cheating, because he's talking about the education system, and Prabhupada said modern education is cheating. Cheating people because you don't tell them the most important thing. You tell them everything except the most important thing, which is that they're not this body. Their minds are always disturbed and full of anxiety due to so many different engagements. Otherwise, the mind becomes agitated by sense gratification, always anticipating, how will I get this? How will I make more money? How will I? No. But if one is peaceful and lives with the very minimum, then the mind is not so disturbing, because it accepts the reality around it. In this age, many unscrupulous men manufacture their own religious faiths, which are not based on any revealed scriptures, and very often people who are addicted to sense gratification are attracted by such institutions. So otherwise modern so-called religion. Consequently, in the name of religion, so many sinful acts are being carried on that the people in general have neither peace of mind nor health of body. The student, brahmachari, communities are no longer being maintained, and the householders do not observe the rules and regulations of grihastha ashram. Consequently, the so-called vanaprasthas and sannyasis who come out of such grihastha ashrams are easily deviated from the rigid path. In Kali Yuga, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with faithlessness. Men are no longer interested in spiritual values. Material sense gratification is now the standard of civilization. For the maintenance of such material civilizations, man has formed complex nations and communities, and there is a constant strain of hot and cold wars between these different groups. It has become very difficult, therefore, to raise the spiritual standard due to the present distorted values of human society. The sages of Naimisharanya are anxious to disentangle all the fallen souls, and here they are seeking the remedy from Srila Sutta Goswami. We can understand that the Bhagavatam is the solution. So it is the solution that we have to turn to and take advantage of, because otherwise it's very difficult, because a devotee has double the work of anybody else. A devotee has to maintain their external life, and they have to maintain spiritual life. So it's double the work. But it's also double the pleasure. Because this work produces pleasure, whereas material work produces the desire to not work and to enjoy. And people work for a certain amount of time. Ma'amidam pushpitam vacham pravanat yavi paschitaha Veda Vadarya Partha Nanyat Astini Nandita. That people are doing sacrifices and austerities and penances just to go to heavenly planets and enjoy, to get more enjoyment in life. And therefore, it is a very miserable situation. So, here Srila Prabhupada points out so many things, and he wrote this in the early 1960s, or late 1950s and early 1960s, and you can see everything he's saying has happened. Everything he's saying there has happened in the last 50, 60 years. Mostly, I mean, this strong, so sense gratification has always been there, but just this total disregard for spiritual principles, divorce everywhere, people separating, people just struggling like animals to try to enjoy. And as the last word in this verse, Hupadrutaha, everything is disturbing. The whole material atmosphere is disturbing. So what is the solution? That we hear the Bhagavatam faithfully, just like here the sages of Naimisharanya are inquiring from Sutta Goswami. So a serious devotee will inquire from the Bhagavatam, will inquire from the devotees, will inquire from Sri Guru, and find out how can I stop this worldwide disturbance. Everyone's disturbed. Just like, especially in India and Latin America and other places, Africa, you know, you hear the dogs always barking, always the barking dogs, because they're all outside. And you know, every time, you know, especially in India, because there's always a dog bark at any given time. There's always a dog barking somewhere nearby. And I just think, just how disturbed the dog is, you know, just constantly, and people are just forced to live like dogs and cats, always disturbed. Everything's disturbing, and then they get a few minutes of like what they call peaceful sense gratification. They think, oh, finally, and they don't realize that 90% of my time or more I'm spending just trying to maintain this little 10% of sense gratification, where I can sit down, read my book, or watch my movie, or, you know, try to enjoy life in some way, and it will go away like this. In an hour, 2 hours, it will be gone. So, how long does the movie last? Hour and a half, 2 hours. Then my whole illusion, the bubble pops, back to reality. I've got to make some money. You know, the kids are crying. Instead of dealing with one mind, I have to deal with 4 minds. You know, and they all want something different. So Srila Prabhupada has done such a unique, beautiful job in this purport of just showing how Kali Yuga has nothing to offer. And yet, illusion is so strong that we think, no, I can actually enjoy in this Kali Yuga. So, by the grace of Sri Guru and Gauranga, we have this opportunity to escape from the prison house, the mental, physical prison house of Kali Yuga, and go back home, back to God. So those are some thoughts on this verse. I think we'll have to stop here, right? Because we have to be there at 9:30.
Yeah, I just have one comment. We had one student at the university here. He jumped off the parking garage and committed suicide on campus. I'm just thinking about how bad things are. He's a doctoral student. 6 months prior, we had another student in the same exact parking garage commit suicide.
Oh, God.
So 2 times in the past 6 months, suicides on campus with these young students. The first time, the college was sweeping it under the rug. The second time, they had to say something. And it's the day after, right, Nardi? It happened. They had all these mental health things. We're good. We're here for you. We're here for you. Then they had tables with the staff and admin. And it lasted about 2 weeks. And now it's just back to normal. I was just thinking in this purport, Kali Yuga.
Yeah, they should have us out there every day with the book table. Then we would give some real solution.
I was out there with my book table getting attacked by administrators. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like,
Well, that's what you should say the next time they attack. Say, you know, we're willing to be out here every day helping people overcome these problems which lead even to suicide, or and you won't let us. And you do some big thing for a week, and then it all disappears, and then somebody else will come and do some crazy thing or take some drugs, and you have no solution.
mm.
You have to not toss them nicely, but just say, you know, what is your solution?
But it's just, that's how bad it is. This is the upcoming generation. They're so disturbed, they're so attached to the phones that they don't.
Yeah.
It's getting.
They're living in their own little world of. That's why I call it cell phones black holes, because it just absorbs the consciousness. Yeah. Anyway, so
He said he's there at the property.
he's already there.
Chaitanya is, yeah. He just called me. I'm gonna call him.
Okay. Well, we
The
have to
fruits.
go.
You want to take the fruits here real quick? It's
Well,
only.
we take it real quick. Yeah, just a little fruit. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. We will be back on later. His Holiness Guru Prasad Swami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada ki